What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now don't forget to like this video as it does let me know to continue to give you free picks every day. So make sure to like this video clicking that button down below. And if we get 600 likes, I will do another video for tomorrow. Now, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group. And as you guys see, we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak. But if you want to get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord to meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,000 just yesterday. Another member who won $1,060 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Calm Rain Aura who said first, and shouts out to Matthew Remel 2069 who said bummer, the last two aren't on PP anymore. So unfortunately you have to get on these picks very quick, but shouts out to them. And if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. All right, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're talking about is Quentin Grimes, and this one is for 14.5 points and rebounds, and this one actually is for more. Now looking at Quentin Grimes, we have seen him do a fantastic job over the last couple of games, but he still has only gone on the over in 2 out of the last 5. Now looking at those 5, we see on December 15th, faced off against Atlanta Hawks, actually had 16 points and rebounds there. December 20th, faced off against the New York Knicks, had 6 points and rebounds in that matchup. Then December 21st, faced off against Dallas, had 8 points and rebounds, then 3 points and rebounds against Chicago on December 27th, and December 29th, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder and had 15 points and rebounds there. So we have seen Quentin Grimes actually go on the over, as I mentioned, in 2 out of the last 5, but we also do notice that his average over the last 5 is also 9.6. So it is slightly below this line. He has definitely struggled in some of these games, but looking at Quentin Grimes and the Philadelphia 76ers, they have themselves a great matchup against Memphis, where Memphis Grizzlies and Philly, looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with Philadelphia 76ers. Now 76ers gotten off to a great start to the season. However, they have fallen just a little bit because they currently come in at the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference, and they also have a record of 16 wins and 14 losses. So that's a 53.3% win percentage there. They're also 9-8 from home, 7-6 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So very interesting to see there. Now, when we actually look at 76ers, not only have, they definitely been on a little bit of a losing streak, but what we also do notice that 76ers have been bouncing around injuries here and there. Some players have taken, injury kind of days off and all those different factors. So it definitely has hurt them when it comes to their record, but they face off against a Memphis Grizzlies team who do rank somewhat similar. However, Grizzlies do rank 9th. So Grizzlies do rank a little bit lower, and they are also in the Western Conference. They rank 9th in the Western Conference with a record of 15 wins and 17 losses. That's a 46.9% win percentage there. They're also 7-8 from home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see there. Now looking at someone like Quentin Grimes, but we also do know when it comes to him and also the matchup between Philly and Memphis, we do also see Memphis Grizzlies and where they do rank defensively. Starting off with points allowed, we see that Memphis Grizzlies do rank, when it comes to points allowed, they rank 15th, allowing 115.8 points per game. So you do allow quite a lot of points. On top of that, they rank very mid-tier, which is why we do like the over there. But also, this is a combo one, so looking at rebounds, we also see that the Grizzlies rank pretty poorly, as they rank 19th when it comes to rebounds allowed, allowing 44.9 rebounds per game. So this is a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. Memphis Grizzlies are just a poorly defensive team, and we are expecting someone like Quentin Grimes to be able to take advantage of that. Although Grimes in some of these recent matchups has definitely struggled, he has faced off against tougher matchups when it comes to restricting points and rebounds, and now that he does face off against an easier matchup, we should definitely see him take advantage of it and go on the over here. Now, Memphis Grizzlies also do like to push the pace quite a lot. They do like to play a fast-paced type basketball, and coming into this matchup, we are expecting, Memphis to push the pace of Quentin Grimes and specifically also, Philadelphia. And as we've always mentioned, faster pace leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score, rebound, and all those different things. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this one. Now, when we look at someone like Quentin Grimes, we also do know when it comes to, what the pros do have to say about him. So obviously we have him for points and rebounds. Now this one is a little bit interesting because obviously we have him for 14.5 while the pros do have him for 15.5. However, the reason why this is definitely very much in our favor is that we do actually see that they have him favored for the over even at 15.5. So he would probably be even more favored for the over if it was at a line of 14.5. So that's definitely even just a little bit of an increase when it comes to the probability of this hitting. And we look at the projection of Quentin Grimes, we see 18.3 points and rebounds, which will land on the over there. So we do very, very much like the over for this one. Now, his last 15 games, he has been able to go on the over in 53% of those games. But as we always mention, although he has struggled quite a little bit in the most recent, you do also have to remember that this is also, in a category where we also do see that when it comes to Quentin Grimes, he has been a little bit of a different sort of matchup as of lately. So, coming into this one and this easier matchup for Quentin Grimes, we definitely see him going on the over here. So Quentin Grimes, 14.5 points and rebounds for more, I think is a fantastic pick. So let's get straight into the next pick. And the next pick we're going to be talking about is Keyonte George. So Keyonte George, great player, as we all know, for none other than Utah Jazz. And this one is for 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists, or PRA, and this one is for less. Now, looking at Keyonte George, we have seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on December 21st, faced off against Orlando Magic, had 40 points, rebounds, and assists there. Then December 23rd, faced off against Denver, had 35 points, rebounds, and assists there. And then December 24th, faced off against Memphis Grizzlies, had 30 points and rebounds and assists, or PRA. 46 PRA against Detroit Pistons on December 27th, and on December 28th, faced off against San Antonio Spurs and had a 39 PRA as well. So, as I mentioned before, we have seen Keyonte George go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and his average over the last 5 is also 38. Now, looking at Keyonte and Utah Jazz, they face off against none other than Boston Celtics. So, looking at the matchup between both of these teams, both have been playing very decently, but looking at Utah Jazz, first of all, Utah Jazz have found themselves in a little bit of a sticky situation because they currently rank 11th in the Western Conference. So, they've struggled quite a little bit. However, when we actually look at Keyonte George, we also do know he has had himself a pretty decent season, but Utah Jazz come in at the 11th with 12 wins, 19 losses, a 38.7% win percentage there. They're also 8-10 from home, 4-9 from away, and are currently on a 2-game win streak. So, very, very interesting to see there, looking at Utah Jazz and where they do rank. Now, they face off against a Boston Celtics team who have actually done a fantastic job because Boston Celtics do come in at the 3rd spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, they actually have a record of 19 wins and 12 losses. That's a 61.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 10-5 from home, 9-7 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very, very interesting to see there, because looking at Boston Celtics, they did get off to a slow start in the season, but they have been able to turn it around. Now they find themselves in the third spot, which is fantastic. But on top of that, looking at where they do rank defensively, Boston Celtics do rank second when it comes to points allowed, allowing 110.5 points per game. Looking at assists allowed, we see our Boston Celtics come in at the seventh spot, allowing 24.9 assists per game and still ranking seventh. And then rebounds allowed, Boston Celtics rank 8th, also allowing only 42.5 rebounds per game. So looking at that, we have definitely seen, Keyonte George facing off against a very, very tough Boston Celtics team, because Boston do a great job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists. What we also have seen is that Keyonte George is a guard, and Boston Celtics do a fantastic job at restricting PRA, or points, rebounds, and assists, to the guard position as well. So that's a big, big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Looking at George over the last 5 games, yes, he has done pretty well in some of those matchups, but you do also have to realize that he has faced off against much easier teams. Now that he does have a bit of a tougher matchup, we are expecting for him to actually go on the under here, similar to what has happened in those matchups against Denver and also against Memphis. Now looking at Keyonte and what the pros do have to say, now obviously they have him for 34.5, so it is slightly a different line to us here. However, even though at 34.5, obviously we have him for 35.5, they still have him slightly favored for the under. So that's a big, big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely see him going on the under due to the fact that when we also look at the projection has him for 25.6 points, assists, and rebounds. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. For someone like Keyonte, yes, he has done a fantastic job time and time again, but we definitely see him going on the under here. So definitely keep an eye out for the under for someone like Keyonte coming into this matchup. When we also look at, the matchup between Utah and Boston, we aren't really expecting the fastest paced game out of both of these teams. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this. So Keyonte George, 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi, great player, and this one is for 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and this one actually is for more. So looking at Kawhi, we actually have him for the over for this one, and we also have seen Kawhi has been quite on a hot streak as of lately, because he's gone on the over in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on December 19th, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, had a 36 PRA in that matchup. Then December 21st, faced off against LA Lakers, had a 47 PRA, then 54 PRA against Houston Rockets on December 24th. Then December 27th, faced off against Portland, had a 42 points, rebounds, and assists. Then a 68 points, rebounds, and assists against Detroit on December 29th. So very, very interesting to see. But obviously looking at that, we have actually seen, Kawhi Leonard go on the over in multiple matchups, and his average over the last 5 is also 49.4. So it's safe to say that Kawhi Leonard has definitely had a bit of a hot hand as of lately, and it's definitely translated to him to be able to dominate in these matchups. Now looking at LA Clippers, they have themselves a really good matchup against the Sacramento Kings. Now, looking at LA Clippers and where also Sacramento do, lie when it comes to ranking-wise, starting off with the Clippers. Clippers have gotten off to a very, very poor start to the season, because they currently find themselves in the 13th spot in the Western Conference. They have a record of 10 wins, 21 losses. That's a 32.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 6-8 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So, very, very interesting to see there. Now, looking at Clippers, they face off against a Sacramento Kings team who unfortunately aren't really doing that much better, because Sacramento come in at the 14th spot in the Western Conference, and they have a record of 8 wins, 24 losses. That's a 25% win percentage there. They're also 5-10 from home, 3-14 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So really, really interesting to see there. Now looking at someone like Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers facing off against the Kings. We do also see when it comes to actually, Kings defensively, starting off with points allowed, we see that the Sacramento Kings do actually come in at the 26th spot, allowing 122.1 points per game. Then looking at assists allowed, we do also see that Sacramento Kings do come in pretty similar in that sense, as they do rank 26 as well, as they also allow 28.3 assists per matchup. And then rebounds allowed, we do also see a similar situation, as the Kings do rank 26, allowing 46.5 rebounds per game. So for that reason, Sacramento Kings do rank very poorly in points, rebounds, and assists. And that's why coming into this matchup, we do very, very much like the over for this situation here. We definitely see someone like Sacramento Kings to really do not only just poorly defensively, but we are also expecting a pretty fast-paced game from this team. And because of that, a faster-paced game leads to more volume, and more volume leads to more opportunity to score, rebound, and play make. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for this situation here. Looking at Clippers and Sacramento, it is definitely going to be a fast-paced game. Now looking at Kawhi Leonard and what the pros do have to say about it. So obviously we have him for a PRA of 41.5. Now they actually have him for 42.5 here, but they still have him favored for the over as well. So this actually works out in our favor there. Obviously Kawhi has been a huge asset for this Clippers team, and he's trying his best to really pull through and get this team back on their cards. But, the fact that at 42, they have him favored for the over as well, while we have him for 41, it actually gives us even a bigger advantage there. Now we are going a little bit against the projection here, because the projection is 33.6 for PRA there. So that's interesting to see in that matchup. But overall, we still do very much like the over. Obviously, he has struggled quite a bit over the last 15, but coming into this next one, we should definitely see him go on the over there, as Kawhi Leonard has definitely just done a fantastic job for this team, and he's had the hot hand as of lately, and we are expecting that to translate into this next game, no doubt about it. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the over for this one for someone like Kawhi Leonard. We see a lot of value there to go on the over. So Kawhi Leonard, 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists for more, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so let's get straight into the next pick. And the next pick we're going to be talking about is Brook Lopez. And this one is for points and rebounds. So this one's another combo one for actually, this is 17.5. And this one actually is for more. Now, looking at Brook Lopez, we have seen him go on the over in 1 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 5 games, you see on December 19th, faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, had 11 points and rebounds there. December 21st, faced off against the LA Lakers, had 16 points and rebounds in that matchup. Then December 24th, faced off against Houston, had 11 points and rebounds. Then December 27th, faced off against Portland Trail Blazers, had 36 points and rebounds. Then December 29th, faced off against Detroit Pistons and had 14 points and rebounds there. So we have actually seen, when it comes to actually Brook Lopez, we have seen him do a great job, in one of those games, but he has only gone on the over in 1 out of the last 5. And his average over the last 5, however, is still 17.6. So it is slightly above this line. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know that the LA Clippers face off against the Sacramento Kings. So it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Now, looking at where both these teams do lie, starting off with the LA Clippers. Now, we have touched on them before, but just to quickly remind you all, Clippers rank 13th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 10 wins and 21 losses. That's a 32.3% win percentage there. They're also 6-8 from home, 4-13 from away, and are currently on a 4-game win streak. So Clippers have been able to pull together quite a small, sort of win streak. Now, they still do rank pretty poorly, but they are hoping and continuing to push forward and see if they can get into a better position. Now, they face off against the Kings, where Kings do rank 14th in the Western Conference. They have a record of 8 wins, 24 losses. That's a 25% win percentage there. And on top of that, they are 5-10 from home, 3-14 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So really, really interesting to see there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know that Brook Lopez and the LA Clippers face off against a Sacramento Kings team that has also struggled. But looking at Sacramento and where they do rank defensively, we do also see Sacramento Kings do rank when it comes to points allowed 26, allowing 122.1 points per game. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Kings rank pretty poorly, as they do actually allow 46.5 rebounds, which ranks them 26th. So unfortunately, we have seen Sacramento do pretty poorly, in the points and rebounding department. However, overall, we still do like the over, because that's a big reason we do like the over for someone like Brook Lopez. Sacramento Kings are a really poorly defensive team, and we are definitely expecting someone like Brook Lopez to take advantage of this and go on the over here. Now, looking at the matchup between LA Clippers and Sacramento, we are also expecting, since Sacramento do a poor job against centers, we definitely see that taking a huge effect there, as Kings do struggle at restricting points, restricting rebounds, and also restricting assists to the center position. So we should see Brook Lopez be able to take advantage of this and go on the over here. So looking at actually Brook Lopez and looking at where his line actually is when it comes to, what the pros do have to say. Now, obviously, we have him for 17.5. This, they have him for 18.5, so it is a little bit different in that sense. So, it is really difficult to go off what is actually being said here, since it is a different line there, but the projection they have for him is actually 8.3. So they are actually having him projected for the under. So we are going a little bit against the grain here and going on the over in this situation here. Now, yes, Brook Lopez has definitely struggled over the last 15 games to really get any sort of usage rate, but we are expecting that to change, as we have seen Brook Lopez get a lot more minutes, has definitely taken on a little bit of a new role for the Clippers, and we definitely see that affecting it greatly, which is why we do like the over. As we've always mentioned, matchups. That's what's most important, and especially with a matchup like this, especially against Sacramento Kings, who do a poor job at restricting points and rebounds, we definitely see him going on the over here. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Brook Lopez coming into this game. Definitely keep an eye out for the over for this one. And when we also look at Lopez, we are also, thinking that when it comes to his usage rate, it has definitely been a lot better as of lately. Now, he hasn't been able to hit this line consistently just yet, but with this easier matchup, we definitely see that happening. So Brook Lopez, 17.5 points and rebounds, 4 more, I think is a fantastic pick. And getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Joel Embiid. So Joel Embiid, great player, and he has done a fantastic job for Philadelphia 76ers. However, this one is for 3.5 assists, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Joel Embiid, we have actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games. Now, looking at those 4 games, we see on December 8th, faced off against the LA Lakers, had 2 assists there. December 13th, faced off against Indiana, had 3 assists in that matchup. Then December 15th, faced off against Atlanta, had 1 assist there. December 24th, faced off against Brooklyn, had 4 assists in that matchup, then 1 assist against Chicago Bulls on December 27th. So we have actually seen, Joel Embiid really struggle at being able to hit this line, and that definitely has translated quite a lot, because we do see that his average over the last 5 is also 2.2. So he has gone on the under quite consistently. Now, looking at this matchup, we do know that Philadelphia 76ers have themselves a really good matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, it is definitely going to be an exciting game between both of these teams. Now, we have touched on this lineup before, but just to quickly remind you again, when we look at it, Philadelphia 76ers have definitely gotten off to a hot start early on in the season, but they've actually struggled quite a little bit, because they currently rank 7th in the Eastern Conference. They have a record of 16 wins, 14 losses. That's a 53.3% win percentage there. And on top of that, are 9-8 from home, 7-6 from away, and are currently on a 3-game losing streak. So very interesting to see there. Now, looking at this matchup, we do also know that 76ers and also Philadelphia face off against a Memphis Grizzlies team, where Memphis do come in at the 9th spot in the Western Conference. Now, they have a record of 15 wins, 17 losses. That's a 46.9% win percentage there. 7-8 from home, 8-9 from away, and are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So very interesting to see. Looking at Philadelphia and also Memphis, we have seen both of these teams struggle a little bit when it comes to, their respective conference. But looking at Memphis Grizzlies and where they do rank assists allowed, we do actually see that Memphis Grizzlies rank 13th when it comes to assists allowed, allowing 26.3 assists per game. So they do rank pretty decent, but why do we like the under for this? And a big reason is not only do they rank pretty decent, but when we look on a per position basis, we do see a little bit of a different story, because Memphis actually do a fantastic job at restricting points, rebounds, and also assists. So which is why we are focusing on the assist on this one, and do a great job at restricting that to Joel Embiid's position. So we definitely see that being a huge factor here coming into this game. When we look at Embiid as well, we also have seen him struggle quite a bit when it comes to being able to get close to this line. We have seen him struggle time and time again, and especially due to the fact that he has had a little bit of a lower usage rate in the assist department, we definitely see that affecting it greatly. So for that reason, we definitely do like the under for this situation here. For someone like Joel Embiid, we definitely see him going on the under due to the fact that we have seen him, struggle time and time again. Now looking at Joel and what they do have to say on the pros. Now looking at the line of 3.5 assists, now they do actually have him favored for the under as well, and by a significant amount. Okay, they have him very much favored for the under when we look at what the bookies are saying. So bookies also have him favored for the under, but the projection, however, has him for the over. So we are following what the bookies are saying. We are going against the projections, but looking at actually his last 15 games, we definitely have seen him, struggle at times to get on the over. He's only gone on the over 40% of the times, which means 60% of it has actually been on the under, and we are expecting a similar situation coming into this next game for sure. Now, looking at Joel Embiid, his play style isn't really focused on, kind of playmaking. He's definitely more of a scorer. He's definitely more of a rebounder, and assist tends to be a little bit of his other sort of aspects that aren't really that effective, when it comes to his play style and the way Philadelphia have been utilizing him. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this one coming into this game, and we definitely see someone like Joel Embiid going on the under here due to the fact that he also has struggled in this department time and time again. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the under for this one. So Joel Embiid, 3.5 assists for less, I think is a